Drama in Parliament as UPND Wengwa Member of Parliament as Vice President to tell the nation about the crimes PF committed while in government. Leader of the opposition in Parliament, Brian Muntubile, has charged that there has been a scramble for deals in the ruling UPND leadership in the recent past. Patriotic Front Lukasha Member of Parliament George Chisanga says the statement made by President Hakainde Hichilema that corruption cases in courts should be concluded in 90 days is an interference to the judiciary. First Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Attractor Chisangano, had a tough time to call the House to order after some members of Parliament from the opposition protested against the question raised by the ruling UPND Wengwa Member of Parliament, Kasauta Michelo, during the Vice President's question time. Mr. Michelo had indicated that the fears every time the former ruling Patriotic Front talks about bouncing back to power in view of the various crimes that they allegedly committed during their reign, citing the gassing incident which characterized the country in 2019 and 2020. He has requested the Vice President to advise the people of Zambia about the crimes the PF committed during their reign.
The Vice President, scared, worried. The PF. I fear a lot that the moment they talk about coming back in power, when I start remembering, okay, if I'm to rewind back, when I remember the issues which happened in this country. Number one, the banning of markets, our market here in Lusaka, and the killing of Samansama, the killing of Kaunda, the killing of Vespas Simuhila, and the killing of so many people, and the gassing of citizens. Their own people who voted for them, they gassed them. Now the very people who gassed the Zambian people, they are saying that they want to come back. Madam, you are one of the Vice President. What message do you have for the Zambian people so that they can never again start thinking again about this same political party PF to bounce back because they committed heinous crimes in this country? Your Honor, the Vice President. Your Honor, the Vice President.
Order. Are you through, Honorable Member for Wengwa? Are you done?
Yes, I'm about to conclude. Your Honor, the Vice President, kindly advise the people of Zambia, okay, about the criminality, no, about the crimes which the PF committed during their reign of gassing their own people who voted for them, the citizens. Thank you so much.
Order, honorable members. No, just sit down, just sit down. Members, can we take our seats? Can we take our seats? Can we take our seats? I know what to do. Can we take our seats? Can we take our seats? Order, honorable members, order. Order, honorable members.
This question did not sit well with some members of Parliament belonging to the former ruling party who opted to rise while seeking the Speaker's intervention. The Speaker told Wengwa Member of Parliament, Kasauta Michelo, that his question was not admissible as it was not only provocative but also lacked evidence.
Order. We are This is the problem. I talked about raising certain questions. Your questions, honorable members, should have some evidence. This, please, hold on. Can we have order? We are not asking questions to provoke each other. We are asking questions to the problems that we have. And we want Her Honor the Vice President to give us answers. But now we are moving away. We are making this program like a fight, a battle. The honorable member for Wengwa, your question is not admissible because there is no evidence and the matter hasn't yet been concluded about the gassing. So because of that, we are going to skip that question which has brought a lot of noise. Should we stop this program so that we move forward? Order, I'm going to allow the honorable member for Chienge. We haven't heard the voice from the opposition.
Has reserved her ruling in a matter involving Chief Government Spokesperson Chuchi Kasanda, who opted to walk out of Parliament after Leader of the Opposition rose on a point of order to respond to question why the PF has been apologizing to the Zambians. Leader of the Opposition in Parliament, Brian Muntubile, has charged that there has been a scramble for deals in the ruling UPND leadership in the recent past. Speaking when he raised a question during the Vice President's question time in Parliament, Mr. Muntubile says that the scramble for deals is ranging from Shiogelites, a manganese mine, and fertilizers procurement. Mr. Muntubile says it is shocking that the UPND has now started talking about positive discrimination towards local contractors. He has appealed to the government to assure the nation that the fertilizers procurement for this year will not add to a long list of questionable transactions and scandals which the country has witnessed for the past 1 year.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to ask Her Honor the Vice President a question. Your Honor the Vice President, in the recent past, there's been a scramble, for deals within the UPND leadership, ranging from Sugilite, manganese mines, and now fertilizer. I have a newspaper that reads, with a headline that reads, Hichilema stops fertilizer tender. It goes on to say, in there, I don't see positive discrimination for local producers of fertilizer. Well, first of all, it's shocking, Your Honor the Vice President, that the UPND government has this time around started talking about positive discrimination towards the locals. Very strange indeed. However, Your Honor the Vice President, my question is, I would like you to assure the nation that this fertilizer procurement for this year will not add to the long list of questionable transactions and scandal that we have witnessed the past 1 year. We have the long list, Madam Speaker, of questionable transactions and scandal. And this particular one, the fertilizer procurement of this year, does not smell good. I want you to assure the nation, Your Honor the Vice President, that this will not add to the long list of questionable transactions and scandal within the UPND government. I thank you.
In response, Vice President Mutalena Lumango, who refused the allegation, says that the European administration must be praised for exposing illegality of the past, present, and future. Ms. Lumango says while the previous government was sweeping things under the carpet, the European administration is walking the talk in fighting corruption.
Madam, thank you very much. I am trying to respond because the honorable member raised a number of issues. He actually talked about scandals in procurement. I think that's what he brought out, that there are scandals in procurement. And he refers to a statement that has been made by His Excellency that he has not seen. That is what he cited, whether it's from a newspaper, positive discrimination in the procurement of fertilizer, in the process. Colleagues, this is what we said. It's part of our manifesto. Positive discrimination. That means we want you to grow the industry as Zambians. You have to participate as Zambians. The Zambia Procurement Act has provisions of how you can do that without breaching the law. So we work within the law to ensure if there is any procurement that should go to Zambians by the law, we are a law-abiding government. We will do that. And therefore, for the honorable leader of opposition to say they are questionable procurement, these are indeed procurement to help us as Zambians as we remain in a global village. But charity begins at home. So come on, bid for fertilizer. Thank you.
Thank you. The honorable member for Chinsali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honor the Vice President, I would like to find out from you, in the contract which the government is going to undertake to construct the dual carriageway from Lusaka to Ndola, the implication of the recovery that will be gotten from the toll gates by the contractor who will be doing the road implies that the government in effect has borrowed money, which when the contractor will be recovering, then it's like the government is paying back, which in effect we can say that it is a loan. Now, the constitution of the land.
Vice President Mutale Nalumango says, contrary to claims that the UPND administration has drifted away from its 2021 campaign promises, the government is making strides towards ensuring that the livelihoods of the Zambian citizens are improved. Mrs. Nalumango told Parliament that the price of mealie meal in some places, such as Kabwe, is now fetching at 100 kwacha, which she said had increased to 190 kwacha during the previous regime. She says that the European administration has scored several achievements in various sectors of the economy, citing the introduction of free education policy, increased allocation to the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, and the ending of Kadaism in markets and bus stations. She was responding to a question raised by Wacha Constituency Member of Parliament, Sidney Mushanga, who said that the European administration is doing things opposite to their campaign promises.
Thank you, Madam. So I was saying, really, that is a sweeping statement, because a lot has happened. Yes. What did we, even in the first question that came, we said in our manifesto, we will ensure we promote local industries so that we grow the economy locally. That is something. The road that we were working on, where there are vast questions, that is a score. The free education, Madam, is a score. The CDF is a score. I can go on. Yes. Terrorism, stop it, is even arresting people committing illegalities, which was not happening, is a score. And how can you honestly, Honorable, sit and say everything that is happening is the opposite? No. In your town, sir, maybe you don't buy mealie meal. I will look to the speaker. Honorable, you can buy mealie meal in Kabwe at 120 today. The same Kabwe, colleagues, the same Kabwe during a period like this, during the term of our colleagues, it had gone up to 190. Where do we forget? This is, come on. You know, these are things that we should be looking back and forth. We have talked about, for example, mealie meal issues here. And today, in Ikabwe, you can find a bag at 120. This is how hardworking this government is to ensure that the lives of our people get better. This is what we are doing. We are working to increase, for example, even electricity. What are you talking about? The load shedding, when solutions from our colleagues was something I can't talk about. We have brought through solutions. So we are working to ensure that we follow our manifesto to the latter.
Yeah.
You are found wanting? Don't cry when you are being probed. Don't cry when we are probing civil service. That is why we are here. And we will not cry when we are being probed.
Yeah.
That is what we are doing. That's part of the manifesto. So I don't know where you come from, sir, where everything is upside down. Maybe in Kabwe, 120.
Minister Mshanga noted that during their campaign, the UPND promised the Zambians to reduce the cost of living, fuel prices, and mealie meal prices, which are on high on the increase. Bite Mshanga. The government has disclosed that following the spurt of illegal mining activities within the exploration license area for Bayani Construction Limited in Chembe district of Lapra province, the company has commenced a court action against the illegal mining activities. Sugarlite is typically a gem type of manganese which occurs and is associated with manganese deposits. Mines and Minerals Development Minister Paul Kabuswe has told Parliament in a ministerial statement that the ministry is aware of the illegal mining of sugarlite in Chembe district, and the company has since been granted a restraining order to prevent illegal mining activities within its license area. Minister Kabuswe explains that following revolutions of the presence and illegal mining of sugarlite within the license area for Bayani Construction Limited, the ministry, through the Geological Survey Department, conducted a verification inspection from 10th to 15th of February 2022 to ascertain the occurrence of sugarlite. He says to prevent the illegal exploitation of the mineral, the ministry and Bayani Construction through the Luapula Provincial Administration facilitated the deployment of Zambia Police Service to provide security at the mines.
Following revelations, Madam Speaker, of the presence of illegal mining of sugilite within the licensed area for Bayani Construction Limited, which I alluded to earlier, the ministry through the Geological Survey Department conducted a verification inspection from 10th to 15th February 2022 to ascertain the occurrence of sugilite. The findings revealed that during the exploration by Bayani Construction, there were illegal mining activities of manganese by the surrounding communities, which exposed sugilite mineralization. To prevent the illegal exploitation of the mineral, the ministry and Bayani Construction through the Luapula Provincial Administration facilitated the deployment of Zambia Police Service to provide security to the mine. I wish to inform the House that following the spate of illegal mining activities within the exploration license area for Bayani Construction, the company commenced court action against the illegal mining activities. The company has been granted restraining order to prevent illegal mining activities within its license area. Madam Speaker, allow me to reiterate that the Ministry of Mines and Minerals Development has confirmed the presence of sugilite within the license area of Bayani Construction Limited in Chembe District. Madam Speaker, various reforms are being undertaken to ensure that the mining sector is revitalized through the ongoing implementation of the new National Mineral Resources Development Policy, which was launched last year to fast-track increased productivity for the mining sector in respect of minerals such as copper and other strategic minerals such as nickel, cobalt, lithium, and manganese. Further, my ministry is undertaking institutional reforms which will result in the creation of the Minerals Regulatory Commission to properly regulate the exploration of mineral resources. Madam Speaker, the ministry is also in the process of refining the legal framework such as the Mines and Minerals Development Act number 11 of 2015 that govern the mining sector to ensure that the environment is conducive for both foreign and local investments. Local investments have been prioritized as they are critical in the sector to enhance the participation of Zambians in the minerals value chain. As I conclude, Madam Speaker, I wish to assure this august House and the people of Zambia at large that government under the leadership of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, is committed to ensure that minerals are developed and managed for the benefit of the people of Zambia. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Republican President Hakainde Hichilema will travel to Doha, Qatar to participate at the 5th United Nations Conference on the Least Developed Countries scheduled to take place from 5th to 9th of March 2023. President Hichilema will join other least developed countries, heads of state and government at this meeting, which will be convened to, among other issues, mobilize additional support measures and action in favor of these countries. The conference will also agree on the renewed partnership between least developed countries and their development partners to overcome structural challenges, eradicate poverty, achieve internationally agreed development goals, and enable graduation from the LDC category. While in Doha, the president is also scheduled to hold meetings with the Emir of Qatar as well as key investment players of that country in his continued efforts to attract investments in Zambia in agriculture, energy, transport, infrastructure, and industry. The president is expected to return to Zambia immediately after his engagement. This is contained in a statement issued by Stanley Kakubo, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. Patriotic Front Lukasha Member of Parliament George Chisanga says the statement made by President Hakainde Hichilema that corruption cases in courts should be concluded in 90 days is an interference to the other arms of the government. President Hichilema, when he addressed the nation on the progress made on the application of national values and principles in Parliament, instructed judges to complete all corruption cases in courts in 90 days. But Mr. Chisanga, who is also former Law Association of Zambia president, has advised the judiciary to conduct their duties with the independence they have as provided for in the Constitution. Mr. Chisanga says he does not expect the judiciary to receive instructions either from the Parliament or the President to do their work. He has, however, alleged that the Financial Crime Court was specifically formed to chase the former government leaders and others.
Because we are very worried as a Patriotic Front. We operate in this country, or we run this country under what is called a constitutional democracy. We're a sovereign state that has got three separate sovereign institutions. The presidency is a sovereign institution. The legislature, where we are sitting and addressing you from, is another sovereign institution. The most important, in my assessment, insofar as the rule of law and constitutionalism is concerned in the country, is the judiciary itself, as a sovereign institution. The judiciary is not supposed to receive instructions from anyone, directly or indirectly. I start with quoting Article 92, which I usually quote when I'm speaking to the press, about what the Constitution expects of a president when he's dealing with national matters, especially national matters that touch on the operations or on activities involving another section of government, on the three wings, in the principle of separation of powers. The president, according to Article 92, is expected to carry out his presidency with authority which must be exercised with dignity, leadership, and integrity. Dignity, leadership, and integrity are very key components of building the character of who should be occupying the office of the president. The total character description of the president must carry on it these elements to ensure that when he stands up and speaks, he's going to draw respect from the Republic. We are concerned that the president continues to address the judiciary as if it is an executive wing of government. The president, whenever he's speaking to the judiciary, he's talking about appointments which are of constitutional office holders, he always draws in the judiciary and makes veiled demands on the judiciary to carry out their conduct in a way that seems to support the role of the presidency. Mine today is not to speak to the president, because we've spoken to the president so many times. It would appear that when we speak to him, he doesn't want to listen to us. Mine today is to address the judiciary. It is to remind our colleagues in the judiciary, whose appointment is almost impeccable in this country, we have got one of the best ways of appointing the judiciary insofar as the law is concerned. The judiciary enjoys what is called security of tenure. That system was embodied or was entrenched rather in our law to ensure that our judges, and by extension our magistrates, conduct the affairs of the judiciary with independence and with accountability. They are not accountable to any other institution, most especially the executive, because in the principle of separation of powers, one of the major roles of the judiciary in the Commonwealth and elsewhere is to check the conduct of the executive. Now, if the person who's sitting at the helm of the executive can, whenever he finds an opportunity to speak to the public, start to make demands on the judiciary to carry out the judicial function in a particular pattern, that should create concern, not only to us, but to the whole nation. But like I said today, I want to remind the judiciary that under Article 1118, you draw the mandate to discharge judicial functions from the people and not from anybody else. It is provided for in the Constitution that judicial power in this republic is going to be drawn from the people and shall be exercised by the judiciary.
Malila has stressed the need to equip local courts with the necessary tools so that people can comfortably resort to litigating in the local court as a viable alternative to subordinate and high courts. Justice Malila says people seeking redress should find well-informed, confident, and not so scary adjudicators ready to deal with their matters even in local courts. Speaking at the opening of a two-day training workshop for local court justices in Kabwe District in Central Province, Justice Malila has stressed the government's commitment to establish and recognize local courts to meet the demands of local communities. He stated that the increasing population and the distance between existing courts would be considered when establishing local courts. The Chief Justice has further noted that it is important for jurisdiction is enhanced so that an even greater number of litigating public benefits can, given the significant role that local courts play in dispensing justice speedily. Justice Malila says that the local courts constitute the bedrock of justice at the local community as they are accessible to the most vulnerable. He has therefore cautioned the participants to be mindful that the authority which they exercise has certain duties and obligations attached to it. Meanwhile, Chairperson of the Advisory Committee on Training and Continuing Education, Justice Mungeni Malenga, says that the administration, the Magistrates and Justice Association of Zambia, MAJAS, partnered with the committee to carry out the training for the first time. And MAJAS acting president Mwinde Siavwapa says this workshop, which is being conducted for the first time, is in line with the objective of the association. Justice Siavwapa says most of the members in the local courts have never undergone induction upon being inducted as adjudicators. The Electoral Commission of Zambia ECZ has registered a total of 1,523 voters in the second phase of the continuous registration of voters conducted in January and February 2023. Commission Corporate Affairs Manager Patricia Lohanga says out of the 1,523 voters registered, 913 are male, while 610 are female. Meanwhile, Ms. Lohanga says the ECZ has registered 959 voters in the month of February 2023, out of which 569 are male while 390 are female. Ms. Lohanga said Kasama recorded the highest cumulative total number of registered voters at 455, while Mansa has the least at 10. She says the second phase of the continuous registration of voters exercise commenced on 16th of January 2023. A 23-year-old man identified as Happy Makate of Luangwa district has drowned in the Republic of Mozambique at Mitiminyola fishing camp. Deputy Police Public Relations Officer Danny Mwale has confirmed the incident, which occurred on March 1st, 2023, around 23 hours at Mitiminyola fishing camp site in Mozambique after the deceased, together with the brother identified as Edwin Makate, aged 25, left Zambia for Mozambique on a fishing expedition. Mr. Mwale explains that as they attempted to put the fishing nets in the waters of the Zambezi for their expected fish catch, a hippo hit their boat, which later capsized and resulted in the death of Happy Makate, while the brother managed to swim to safety. He says the body arrived in harbor at about 20 minutes past midnight and was inspected and was found with no physical injuries, thereby confirming a case of drowning.
A new analysis of global CO2 emissions put out by the International Energy Agency is a mix of both good and bad news. Well, the headline figure is a record high for energy-related emissions in 2022 to almost 37 billion tons. That's nearly a full % more than the prior year. On the bright side, rising clean technologies, including solar cells and battery-powered vehicles, helped limit overall emissions. And those technologies are poised to play an even greater role in the years ahead. That's according to the report. All right, Michael Sterner is an energy researcher at the Regensburg University of Applied Sciences. He joins me for more. Michael, thank you for coming to the show. The IEA says that recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic is proving more sustainable than past crises. Do you see that there is indeed good news in this report, or are we just so desperate to find a silver lining when overall energy-related emissions actually went up?
No, I think it's really good news because the energy transition is already working. Without this, we would have 3 times more emission raising. So it's already helping in reaching our climate goals, reducing energy independency, and stabilize our economy. I mean, there are billions of tons of CO2 avoided, billions of euros that don't go through the pipelines to Russia, but remain in our economy, in our European, German economy. They stay here, they create jobs, they create welfare. So that's the good side. But we also, like you discussed, the IRA, we need to stabilize that by doing right policy making.
I want to touch on the Inflation Reduction Act in just a moment, but I want to go back to this year. How much of this could be just sheer chance? I mean, Europe, after all, has had a very mild winter. The Chinese economy hasn't really been running full steam. Could we actually see that in the years ahead, emissions might go up again for energy?
No, I don't think so, because it's globally 80–90% of renewables are energy coming from renewables, new installations. So the switch is already going towards renewables, and it's just a matter of stabilizing and recognizing the benefits which we have here, and to really do this energy transition. So I don't think that we will have a big raise in emissions. I mean, globally, it's a different picture, but at least for Europe, it will be a matter of competition. Who is the one who can really produce climate neutrally? And that's why we have this stimulus. So I'm quite optimistic on that.
This positive inertia you're speaking of, you mentioned the Inflation Reduction Act, this massive package of subsidies in the U.S. Do you see that as a game changer for development of these technologies worldwide, especially for something like green hydrogen, perhaps?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we need this green technology from electromobility, heat pumps, but also hydrogen power takes and so on. And the solutions are all there. I mean, many people do not know that we have stable power supply from wind and solar backed up by power to X and power to gas. And I put this all together in my new book on climate solutions. And really explaining it easily, but it's doable. It's just a matter of policy making, and that's where the IRA comes in. And also Europe has to answer, because we are, especially in Germany, always very, very precise, but we lose the big picture, and the US just says we want to go that direction, and they put it out the money, and that attracts, of course, company, and we have to take care that we are not falling behind our leader role in the world. So definitely we need more pragmatism in policy making on energy and climate in Europe.
All right, back to that question again.
We need e-fuels, we need electromobility, we need all of that for energy, for climate solutions, and we should not rule out one like e-fuels and so on. We need all of that solutions to reach our climate goals.
All right, we'll have to leave it there for now with Michael Sterner at the Regensburg University of Applied Sciences. Thank you.